Okay, I think everyone can hear me now. So it's the time we can start. We welcome to the Symmetric Designs session today. We will have 3 talks, and the first one will be from Rentaro Shiba, I hope I can pronounce correctly, on Arayon, highly efficient permutations and its applications to hash functions for short input. So stage is yours. Go ahead, please.
Thank you for introduction. I'm Rentaro Shiba. This is a joint work with Takanori Isobe, Ryomaito, Ukoryu, Kazuhiko Mirimatsu, Motoki Nakahashi, Kosei Sakamoto. I will start by giving an overview of this research. In this research, we design array permutation and apply them to hash functions. As a result, we show array permutations are more efficient than existing schemes in many settings. And the hash functions based on array are surprisingly fast. Especially, array 512 MD is about at most 10 times faster than SHA-2 256, SHA-3 256, or hash 256. In this research, we focuses on the fact about internet communications. And first, we especially focused on packet sizes on the internet. In the TCP/IP protocol, 44% of packets are between 40 and 100 bytes, and 37% of packets are between 1400 and 1500 bytes. And other protocols and application uses relatively small packet. And we focused on also future communication like beyond 5G and 6G. In such settings, at most 100 gigabit per second speed is expected. And we consider that highly efficient hash functions suitable for such situations are required in the future. In this research, we target 2 types of hash functions. First is short fixed input length hash functions. I will SFIL hash functions. I will refer SFIL hash functions later, based on AS-based permutation, like Shimpira Beitsu and Haraka Beitsu. And the other is variable input length hash functions, like Kangaroo TERFs and parallel hash 256 and break 3, and other many famous hash functions. However, these hash functions have some problems. For Haraka V2, pre-image attacks are proposed, and it breaks Haraka 256 up to 9 out of 10 rounds. And it breaks Haraka 512 completely. And for simpler V2, there is a room for improvement. It could be better optimized for recent CPU. And no VAL hash functions to optimize for short inputs to best of our knowledge. That's our objective, is to design efficient and secure SFIL VAL hash function for short inputs. Next, I'd like to explain our approach, how to design efficient hash functions for short inputs. We first design software efficient permutations named Arayon and apply them to constructing hash functions. Arayon uses AES instructions like Haraka Bitsu and Shimpira Bitsu, and it inherits the design principle of Shimpira Bitsu. And Arayon-based hash function, as Arayon based hash functions, we construct 2 types of hash function. And one is SFIL hash function based on Davis-Meyer construction. And the other is VIL hash functions based on Markle-Dangard construction. And this is Arayon permutation and Arayon hash family. Arayon permutation is divided into 2 variants. One is RAN 256 and the other is RAN 512. The hash is roughly divided into two. One is RAN DM and the other is RAN 512 MD. Before I start to explain how to design RAN, I will give a brief explanation about AES instructions and specification of RAN. AES instructions are dedicated instructions for AES software implementation. In this presentation, I used two AES instructions. The one is AES enc, which executes the AES round function, and the other is AES enclast, which executes the AES round function for the last round. And here is RAN 256 specification. RAN 256 uses two different functions in one round, and these are based on AES round function. And the round number is 10, and security, this claims security 128-bit security. And this is RAN 512, and this uses three different functions in one round, and the round number is 15, and this also claims 128-bit security. This is the concept of RAN design. RAN inherits the design principle of simplability, which means it is based on generalized faster on AES. And it is designed to be efficient in environments where AES instructions are available. And we try to improve simplability structure by adding other parallelizable operations and leveraging the pipeline more effectively than simplability. This is the implementation of simplability, and simplability can be realized by only AES enc. And our design is like this, right side of the figure. We added the parallelizable function to the basic simpler construction. Our aim is to identify the best combination of functions, and for 512-bit permutations, we also consider the shuffles. We denoted by. And these functions are selected from functions consisting one or two round AES round functions. This is because Haraka weights and simpler weights employ two round AES functions, and other research shows that symmetric key primitives with the larger size, with the larger block than AES, uses one round AES round function are also considered. And we have 6 functions which can be constructed by one or two AES round function. Let's move on to construction search. For 256 permutation, we searched a construction with the minimum number of instructions required to perform our max round. And for 512-bit permutations, we searched a construction with the minimum value of RMAX, which can be implemented in 45 instructions or less. RMAX is the maximum round of among R1 and R2 and R3. And R1 is the number of rounds secure against differential and linear attacks. And R2 is the number of rounds secure against impossible differential attacks. And R3 is the number of rounds secure against integral attacks. For 256-bit permutations, there are only 36 candidates of function pairs. So the exhaustive search is feasible. As a result of the exhaustive search, we found the optimal one, which can be implemented by 15 instructions, only 15 instructions, and our max is 5. So we selected this construction as Arayon 256. This is a result. This is a permutation we obtained by exact search. And next, for 512-bit permutations, there are too many candidates to find by exhaustive search. There are about 31,000 candidates. Thus, we divide the 512-bit permutation search into 4 steps. The first step is limiting the number of AES instructions in Rmax. And the second is eliminating the equivalent candidates. And third is considering efficiency in neon implementations. And the fourth step is theoretical experiment and experimental performance evaluation. In the first step, we restrict the number of AES instructions to implement the construction to 45, and there are 30 candidates that the round Rmax is 9, and which we can implement this 9 Rmax round by 45 instructions. And the third 30 candidates are remain after this step. And the second step, in the second step, we eliminate the equivalent candidates. 28 out of 30 candidates can be classified into 40 equivalent classes because of the shuffle property. So, and each 2 candidates of them is mapped to 1 equivalent class. After this step, we can eliminate 40 candidates and 60 candidates remain. In step 3, we consider the efficiency in neon implementation. We found 2 candidates which uses Pi3. This type of permutation are found, and we found that they are unstable to implement permutation. Because they have 2 successive XOR instruction. They have a successive XOR which requires 2 XOR instructions. Thus, we employ this shuffle. We cannot implement permutation by only AES instructions. In step 4, we calculate the theoretical cycles to execute Rmax round of each constructions by using LLVM MCA and run benchmark of each construction on Intel ISEC platform. And we obtain most efficient permutation, and thus we selected it as Arayon 512. This is a permutation we obtained. Next, we consider the applications hash functions of Arayon, and as I described in the beginning of this presentation, we constructed 2 types of hash functions. One is Arayon DM, and the other is Arayon 512 MD. Arayon DM this is the specification of Arayon DM. And Arayon DM is the simple hash Davis-Meyer hash functions, which uses Arayon as the underlying permutation. And this is the specification of Arayon 512 MD. And this is also simple hash functions, which uses Arayon 512 as their underlying permutation. And let's move on to the performance evaluation on Intel platforms. In here, we evaluate the performance of Arayon permutations and Arayon DM and Arayon 512 MD. And for the comparison, we also measure the performance of Haraka weights and Schimpfler weights and other hash functions. For Haraka weights, we use also the version of the round is multiplied by 1.2 times and 1.5 rounds version. because the original version are almost broken, and Haraka 512 is completely broken. And we measure the cycle per byte on these platforms. 10th generation of Intel platforms to 12th generation of Intel platform. We measure the cycle per byte on these platforms with tab burst disabled. And this is the performance of Rayon 256 permutation. And we found that Rayon 256 is the fastest, excluding Haraka with the round number of which is 1.2 times for single block encryption. And at least 1.52 and 1.20 times faster than Simpia 256 and Haraka 256. The round number of which is 1.5 times for single block encryption, respectively. And at least 1.12 and 1.03 times faster than Simpia 256 and Haraka 256, the round number of which is 1.2 times for parallel block encryption. And this is the performance of Rayon 512 permutation. And the Rayon 512 permutation is the fastest, excluding Simpia 512 for parallel block encryption. And at least 1.34 and 1.16 times faster than Simpia 512 and Haraka 512. The round number of is 1.2 times for single block encryption, respectively. At least 1.26 times faster than Haraka 512, 1.2 times variant for parallel block encryption. And this is the performance of Rayon DM. And Rayon DM, Rayon 256 DM is the fastest, excluding Haraka 256 DM, 1.2 times variant, and at least 1.41 and 1.21 times faster than Simpia 256 DM, and Haraka 256 DM, 1.2 times variant, respectively. And Rayon 512 DM is the fastest among all schemes we measured. And this is the performance of Rayon 512 MD. And we found that Rayon 512 MD is the fastest among for input sizes up to around 4 kilobytes. And this is about 10 times, at most 10 times faster than SHA-2 256 and SHA-3 256 parallel hash 256. And we also measure the performance of Rayon 512 MD on mobile devices. In here, we measure a gigabit per second of Rayon 512 DM on some mobile devices and compare with SHA-2 256 and SHA-3 256. And this result shows that Rayon 512 MD is the fastest in some range. So yes, this shows the efficiency of Rayon 512 MD on even in the mobile devices. In this research, we designed Rayon and applied Rayon to hash functions. And we show that Rayon permutations are outperform other schemes in many settings. And hash functions based on Rayon are surprisingly fast, especially Rayon 512 MD is about at most 10 times faster than SHA-2 256 and SHA-3 256 and parallel hash 256. Yes. And this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for the nice talk. Do we have any questions from the audience? Christian?
Hi, thanks a lot. Very nice work, very nice talk. Can you say something about the security margin of your design? You mentioned some of the competitors have a small security margin, and is it very different here?
Yes. You mean Rayon has few security margin?
No, my question is how large is the security margin?
Sorry, I couldn't catch your question. So speak. Sorry.
So how many rounds do you think can be broken compared to how many rounds you propose in your design? So for the 512-bit version, I think you have 15 rounds, right? And how many rounds do you think can be attacked?
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
Okay, no worries. We can take it offline.
Yes.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? I do not see anyone. I do not see any other questions here in the chat. I have a quick question. I mean, you have, of course, software results. You're leveraging AES in general, which makes sense. But have you checked any hardware, like potential numbers? Do you have? Can you comment a bit on that?
If we implement this on hardware, I think it is not efficient because the operations are too heavy.
There are many different functions, actually, even though it's based on AES. I guess it's a bit okay.
There are many AES components.
Great. If we do not have any other questions, I think we can slowly switch to the next talk. Thank you very much again for this work. Okay, so the next talk is from Elif Bilge Kavun. Can we see the slides first?
This one?
I think we have to wait for the slides first.
Okay.
It's coming. Yeah, exactly. Would you like some water meanwhile?
No, thank you.
Oh, it's so stressful, I cannot.
That one?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Great. So let me introduce you maybe. Yannis is a PhD student at Radboud University in the Netherlands. He's working on low latency design and analysis. And currently you're in an internship at SHART, I guess, on side channel aspects of lightweight design. So today he will be talking about BIP cipher, a low latency tweakable block cipher with small dimensions. So the stage is yours.
Thank you. So for those who attend the previous presentation from Intel, they briefly mentioned the cipher. So I hope you all follow so that I don't have to recall the context, but I will still do it a bit. So the context is the following. We were contacted by Intel to work because they designed secure architecture, which is called C3 for cryptographic capability computing. And in this architecture, they needed a low latency tweakable block cipher to encrypt pointers in order to do randomization. So they tried to do something for that. They designed a cipher named K-cipher, but there was some issues with this. So they asked us to design something to do pointer encryption for hardware implementation. And since there was nothing else meeting the security and the performance requirement that they had, we had to design something. So we create something new. The design of it, we started from thinking about low latency from the start. So instead of using already existing component and trying to bring them all together to make something low latency, we thought, okay, how can we build something low latency? So first, you have to think about the use case. The use case is for encryption and decryption of pointers. But when you deal with pointers, there is some cases where you want them as fast as possible and some cases where you can delay them a bit. So when you decrypt a pointer, it's because you want to use this as soon as possible. So therefore you want fast decryption. But when you encrypt a pointer, it's because you're going to store it in memory. And therefore you can allow yourself a bit more delay because you don't need it ASAP. Therefore, we start from a balanced design where the decryption will be faster than the encryption. Then we think about the gates. So when you design for hardware, you will think about how the circuit will be made. And therefore, you need to think about the type of gates that you are going to use because they do not have all the same latency. Of course, this depends on how you implement them, but on average, you can see that there is some gates that are heavy in terms of latency to implement and some that are more light. So we select the gates that we wanted to use for our different component function based on their latency and also based on their cryptographic properties so that we can have a good mix of those. Also, we thought about the depth of the circuit. If you have a very deep circuit and you have to pass through all the gates, like a huge number of gates, then it will make it very heavy. Sorry. And therefore, you want to reduce this as much as possible to reduce the critical path. Then we also needed some nonlinear components. Usually you use S-boxes, and for example, in AES, they use 8-bit S-boxes, but here, when you think about low latency, you need something, again, that is light. So we found some new 4-bit S-boxes that have good cryptographic properties, but also that are easy to implement, so that have a low depth and also that use gates that have low latency. Also, we needed a tweak schedule. Why? Because we need to handle a tweak, but we need to handle it quickly because we want to inject the tweak inside the data path. I will show in the next slide how the design look like and you will understand. But basically what you need to understand is that you have a tweak, which is a public value, and this public value can be used for many attacks. Therefore, you want to transform the tweak as much as possible in order to reduce the power of an attacker to use the tweak to make some specific attacks, some cancellation, and so on. So we try to design a nonlinear tweak schedule that can handle the tweak very fastly and also that cannot be used easily. So that's the structure of the decryption of BB. So we have two paths, one data path on the top and one tweak path, tweak schedule on the bottom. They both use similar and different components. So they use, for example, 3-bit XOR to introduce diffusion, but on the data path, we use 4-bit S-boxes, and on the tweak schedule on the bottom, we use the SHE function in the full state to introduce nonlinearity with a small cost. Then, once we have that design, of course, we need to cryptanalyze it to assure its security. So first, we applied most known attack, differential, linear. We search for trails among those. And the very specific size of this cipher, which is 24-bit for the plain text and 30-bit for the tweak, makes such that you can apply some attacks that are not normally possible if you have a 64-bit state or even bigger. So that allows us to exhaustively compute many properties, many characteristics, and also to do some things like peeling off one round, because you can exhaustively guess, for example, 24-bit of the key or the round key, and therefore you can do that for many rounds, which you cannot in normal cipher with bigger dimension. Also, there is many things that you can compute, and that make the life of an attacker more easy because you can try, but also the life of a designer more easy because you can more exhaustively see more weaknesses that you could not look for in 64-bit or 128. Therefore, we made a security claim against multi-chosen tweak and chosen ciphertext. We didn't let go for 128-bit of security because of the small size of the cipher, which would require a lot of constraint on the data that you can use. In terms of implementation, of course, when you speak about low latency, you have to speak about prints. So we compare with prints, and the objective was to do this implementation on Intel CPU for making the decryption in 3 cycles. So on a 4.5 gigahertz of frequency, we got those results. And the idea was to get very good delay, of course, but also to stay reasonable in terms of area, because you can increase the area to reduce the delay, but at some point it's not practical anymore. And if you want to use it in products, then you need to make some trade-off. So you can also see on those results that the difference between the delay and the area for encryption and decryption is quite important. And again, this is due to the use cases where you really want fast decryption, but you don't care as much for the encryption. Of course, it should stay reasonable. In conclusion, everybody see everywhere that when you design something, you need to do a trade-off between efficiency and security. In our case, it was latency. But it's really complicated when you have such a design with a lot of constraints, because you need to, every time you take a measure or you modify something to increase the security, you increase the latency. And therefore, you need to balance all the time between those two in order to find like a path in the middle that allows you to meet all those requirements. So thank you for your attention. I've let a lot of things hidden. They are on the paper if you want to read it or if you want to ask questions, so feel free to do it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. That was quick. Do we have any questions from the audience? Over there, we have someone.
In one of your slides, you're showing the gates you're considering. Have you considered like kind of non-standard gates, like 3-input XORs or things like this?
Sorry, can you repeat? I didn't hear it correctly.
Like have you considered non-standard logical gates like 3-input XORs or things like this in your design also?
So this is a good question, because indeed something that I forget to mention is that when you design for low latency, there is 2 layers on which you can think about it. The layer of the design first, and then the layer of the implementation. So you can first take like a specific way of doing the implementation, thinking, okay, I'm going to use that specific library, which has those specific type of gates. And then I'm going to make my design optimized for that implementation. Or you can take like, you can take the, let's say, the common type of gates that you can find in most library. Then you make a design. And if you want for a specific implementation to make it even more efficient, then you can optimize your implementation for the design. This is the approach that we took. And therefore, we only consider very standard type of gates and not trying to look neither while doing the implementation nor before, thinking of, okay, we can use that very specific type of gate that will make it more efficient and we can implement it that way in silicon. So no.
Any other questions? Over there we have, do we have anyone else?
Thanks for your presentation. I was just wondering, which kind of technology did you use to synthesize the cipher? And what's the max frequency that can achieve?
So the technology was the Intel 10 nanometer technology. So I cannot tell you more precisely about that. And the max frequency of the for the simulation, because of course it was simulation, it was not on a chip, was 4.5 gigahertz. And,
Okay, thank you.
We have another one there. Yeah.
Can you make some quick comment about algebraic attacks? Because you mentioned linear and differential, but can you make some claims about security of this cipher against?
sorry, did you mention specific attack? I only
Yeah,
heard the-
algebraic attacks.
Yes, of course. So the good thing also about the size is that you can compute the ANF, and therefore it gives you a lot of insight on how like the type of monomial that are present or that are not. And that is something that we managed to do. So the results are in the paper, and therefore you can see that all the max degree monomials are present. So we did some analysis, but not trying to apply some specific type of integral attack, summing attack, or others, but we just try to see what the algebraic structure of the cipher after the max number of rounds was, to see if there is some easy distinguisher that you can use that way. And we didn't find any.
Thank you very much.
There is another one over there.
Can you say more about the 24-bit limitation? Because I understand you're focused on speed, but if you could do 32 bits or 40 bits in 3 clock cycles, wouldn't that be better? Why did you limit to 24 bits being encrypted?
So 24 bits, because 24 plus 30 equals 64, which is the common size for a pointer in that type of architecture. So that's why we use that. But of course, you can increase. It was not your question?
Well, I mean, 32 plus 32 is 64 also. So to tell me 24 plus 40 is 64 is the reason for 24. It seems arbitrary.
Yeah, okay, sorry, I did not get that aspect. So we don't need, for the use cases, we don't need to randomize the full pointer. It's not necessary. You just need to randomize a part of the pointer. And in that case, I think it was the 24 most significant bit. And you want to let some of the bits clear, because then you can use them to pre-process the address and therefore lose less time. So the dimension of the cipher was a trade-off for the architecture to be as efficient as possible while getting some randomization.
Thank you.
Any other? So then I'm here to ask a question. The questions like which are not actually your target. So this is an unrolled implementation, of course. Yeah, it's low latency, yeah. But I mean, for example, for Prince, just for fun, we also look at round-based. Did you check that? Did you check shared data paths so that you can balance maybe this EncTech thing? Any comments?
Yes. So I can reshow a bit the structure of the cipher. Yes. We did not check at rolled, not unrolled implementation, because as you can see, we have many different round functions. And therefore, in terms of implementation, it's not that easy as if you have like one round function that you iterate multiple times. Also, we have 2 different run functions for the data path, 2 different run functions for the tweak schedule. And I mean, it's, if you want to do not unroll, it's a bad design, clearly. So that was our target. And this is why we also use the specificity of unrolled implementation as much as possible to go as far as possible.
And now you're doing side channel internship. Yeah. Are you attacking on your own design?
No, so I'm not attacking on my on BitBit. First, because it was not designed to be secure against side channel.
Of course, but any like masking, anything? Probably it's beyond. I'm just,
yeah. No,
we have a lot of time. Yeah. That's why.
No, it's a good question. I think right now the low latency field is developing into trying to make cipher as efficient as possible. So that's, for me, it's like a first step. And once we get the point where we get things really efficient, which for me, it's not the case yet, we can think about implementing countermeasure for side channel that will maybe decrease a bit the time, but still stay efficient for the use cases that we want. And the design that we have right now, they are not mature enough so that we can add countermeasure and still be in the requirement that those use cases need.
Sure. And interested in hearing more in the future with the more mature versions. Great. So if you don't have any other questions, let's thank the speaker again. So we will wait for the next slides to load. Meanwhile, let me introduce our speaker, maybe. So Yusuke Naito will be presenting today. If I'm not wrong, from Mitsubishi,
Yeah.
right? So the talk will be on MMM, authenticated encryption with minimum secret state for masking. So if you're ready, we can start actually. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, my name is Yusuke Naito, and this is joint work with Yu Sasaki and Takeshi Sugawara. So this is summary of my talk. The goal of our research is to design an authenticated encryption or A with minimum secret state for masking. D+1 masking expands the secret state to D+1 shares. So minimizing the secret state size reduces the circuit size of A with masking. The minimum secret state size of A is security level S bits plus plaintext block size B bits. Homer is the existing masking-friendly A schemes. It is based on Zika block cipher or TBC. The block size, plaintext block size is half of S bits for security level S. And the secret state size of Homer is 1.5 S bit. So the size is minimal, but only for the limited case with this block size. So the inflexibility of the plaintext block size is a drawback of Homer. Moreover, Homer is inefficient, and the data overhead is large, and Homer requires a Zika block cipher with non-standard size, and the security of Homer is ensured only in the single user setting. So we design new A scheme M. It is based on block cipher or Zika block cipher that supports standard scheme like Skinny and AS and so on. And M achieves the minimum secret state size S plus B bits and solves all the Homer problem. So, okay, so let's start with introducing the authenticated action or A. A is a symmetric key algorithm that provides confidentiality and authenticity of data. And at the beginning, the sender and receiver share the secret key, and then the sender uses the encryption algorithm that takes secret key nonce plaintext associated data or AD and returns its ciphertext and authentication tag. And these inputs, these values are sent to receiver. Receiver uses the decryption algorithm that takes secret key, nonce plaintext, ciphertext, AD, and tag. And if these inputs are authenticated, then the algorithm returns the plaintext. Otherwise, it returns the invalid symbol. So design of A scheme is a hot topic due to the recent NIST AWC standardization process. And NIST optionally considered side channel attack or SCA countermeasure. And there are several SCA countermeasures, and we consider masking friendly A design. So there are several research directions to improve the performance of A with masking. And we we improve the performance by the mode-based design. So D+1 masking ensures the security in the programming model, and the D is the protection order. So this figure shows the state without masking, and white box is a public state, and black box is a secret state. So D+1 masking expands the secret state to the D+1 shares. So the memory for the secret state dominates the memory of A with masking. So the memory dominates the circuit size of a scheme with masking. So minimizing the secret state size reduces the circuit size of A with masking. So designing A with the minimal secret state is an important research topic. So the minimum secret state size is security level S and plus plaintext block size B. Because SB's secret state is necessary to resist a brute force attack. And BB's secret state is necessary for encrypting BB plaintext block. And HOMA is existing masking-friendly A schemes. It uses a Twitter block cipher, and the plaintext block size is half of S bit for security level S, and secret state size is 1.5 S bits. So the secret state size is minimal, but as a special case with only this parameter. So the inflexibility of the plaintext block size is the drawback of HOMA, and the other side cannot be chosen. And moreover, HOMA has these drawbacks. So this is a course procedure of HOMA that encrypts plaintext block capital M. And so as shown in this figure, HOMA is inefficient. That is, it requires 3 tweaker block cipher core for each plaintext block. And HOMA needs a tweaker block cipher with non-standard tweaky size. So the block size of the tweaker block cipher is half of S bit, and the tweaky size is 3 S bit. That is the tweaker block cipher of HOMA must have at least 6 tweaky schedules. So to instantiate HOMA, the specialized tweaker block cipher skinny EE was designed for 128-bit security. And moreover, the data overhead of HOMA is large because HOMA uses the 12-bit random IB in addition to nonce. So HOMA requires 12-bit additional overhead from the standard nonce-based A schemes. And finally, the security of HOMA is ensured only in the singular setting. So we design low memory A scheme for masking M. It is based on block cipher or tweaker block cipher E. And the secret state size is minimum. So this is the core procedure of M. So at the beginning, the S-bit part of the state is initialized by the secret key, capital K. And then the S-bit state is split into the K1 bit part and N bit part. And the N bit part is directly updated by directing the block cipher E, and the upper K1 bit part is updated by expiring with block cipher output. And in this process, the plaintext capital M is encrypted by expiring with the bit part of the block cipher output and the bit part of the secret key. So the state size is B bit plus S bit. So this is minimal state size. And the MM construction solves all the Homer problem. That is the plain text box size is flexible. So we can choose the plain text box size so that M smaller or faster than Homer. And second, M is efficient. So as shown in this video, for each plain text box, M call block cipher once. And third, M supports standard block cipher and take a block cipher like skinny and 8 and so on. And M there is no data overhead from the standard node-based A schemes. And finally, the security of M is ensured in the multi-user settings. So this is this figure shows the procedure of M's encryption. So first, the SBIT part of the state is initialized by secret key. Then in this iteration, associated blocks, capital A, are processed, and then by this part, plain text block, which bits process encrypted by this procedure. And finally, in this process, bit tag blocks are defined. So we consider two instantiations of M8 and M64. And the underlying ticker box we use the skinny 64192 the underlying block cipher, and the security level is 120-bit security. And the difference between these schemes are the block size B. So 8-bit for M8 and 64-bit for M64. And we implement these schemes by standard serialized architecture as shown in this video, and we make a comparison with Homer using the same hardware architecture and components. And the CHES register stores the B-bit part of the key, which is the only difference between these two schemes. And for masking, we use MPC2 that satisfy Piney under the glitch robust plugin model. And we use the composition-based verification to verify our implementations. So this is a hardware performance comparison. And we evaluate the circuit area in gate equivalent using NAND gate 45 nanometer standard cell library for the protection order B from 0 to 5. So this table shows that M8 and M64 are smaller than Homer for all protection order D. And we also evaluate the speed by the number of cycles for each printed call. So as a result, M can flexibly trade off trade area and the speed. So M64 is faster and smaller than Homer as shown in this table. Okay, finally, I'd like to explain intention of the security proof. So we prove the security in the multi-user setting and in the IDA cipher model. And we also use the Z-bound model proposed by both Hong and Tessa, where we assume that the number of bit pairs of nonce and counter is at most small variety. Then, regarding the privacy of M, by the property of the Z-bound model, we can ensure that no collision of input to the block cipher occur within SBIT security. And if no such collision occurs, then all block cipher inputs are new, and as a result, all block cipher outputs are independent and random. So as a result, M achieves SBIT security for privacy. And regarding authenticity, we use the multi-collision-based evaluation for the B-bit part of B-bit part. So the size B is smaller than the sizes considered in the previous multi-collision evaluation. So the small size makes the evaluation of the proof more complex, but our proof manipulate the small size. And so as a result, for each forgery attempt, the probability of forging the tag is at most this probability. And M achieves security for the authenticity. Okay, so this is last slide. We propose low memory A scheme for masking M. It is based on Twicker block cipher or block cipher, and secret state size is minimum, and M solves all the HOMA problem. And for hardware performance, we consider two insertion, and we use the skinny block cipher as the underlying primitive. And we make a comparison with HOMA, and as a result, M8 is smaller than HOMA, and M64 is smaller and faster than HOMA. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for a nice talk. We again have a lot of time for questions. I don't see any questions in the chat as well. I don't see the whole room because of the walls here, but okay, so you especially compared your design to like HOMA, because like you use a skinny instantiation, so smaller ones. So any larger like flavors, let's say, any comments on that?
What question is other?
Like, yeah, so basically, especially like the MMM8, so it's smaller than HOMA, and smaller and faster than HOMA is the MMM64. So do you have any, actually during the design process, so this was your target, right? So just to beat HOMA, any broader analysis or like any other comments on larger sizes, possibly? Just for fun, I'm asking.
I have no idea.
Okay, just wondering randomly. Do we have anything else? Okay, not really. So if we do not have any other questions, checking one last time, the chat. Let's thank the speaker again for the talk. So this concludes actually our session. I'd like to thank all the speakers again for their nice work, and probably also for letting us to lunch much earlier than we planned. So thanks a lot for joining as well. See you around later.